I've seen so often that when it comes to gender wars, it's typically the black community that's at the center. You may hear about a Kardashian. Taylor Swift is probably the most notable person outside the black community who's had their relationship spoken on. Why us?
We're the only community that puts our gender before our race. We are black before we are anything. And so when you see these male men versus women, like when everybody has an opinion about who did what or who did right or wrong in the relationship, is because when you're black first, your identity is rooted in your community and your culture. That's why you don't see these gender wars in the Asian community. You don't see these gender wars in the Latino community. You don't see these gender wars in the white and Jewish community. You don't see them. You don't even see them in the African community. Typically, we don't have any nationalism. So if you're black first, you care about your people first. But we care about it's men versus women before it's black versus everybody. You understand what I'm saying? That's the part. It's black versus everybody that don't F with us first.
Attention, player haters and overrated disbelievers of all kinds. I stand before you today 10 toes down as the bearer of bad news. Y'all done fucked up.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. You see the clip, saw the thumbnail. Because of the gender war thing, and I'm in a black manosphere, I'm going to address it this way. The reason why we have a problem is because people actually don't want to address the problems directly in the black community when it's about specific groups. And that's where we have an issue. And all these other groups do this. People play stupid. People act like they're so smart that they don't want to have common sense anymore. So when people go, when Isaac Hayes said we're the only people to put our gender first before our race. He didn't say which gender. But what winds up happening is people then you pseudo make an assumption, or you not grift, but you frame it in a way that people are talking about guys. And so what happens is, through your whole lifetime, you've heard the whole kick about, the strong independent woman thing and don't need no man thing. You didn't hear that from men, but but there was a response to that. And since there's a response to it, now we got to frame it differently. It's the same issue, that we have when people play the game of these kids out of hand, but people don't want to address the parents because the people who are saying the kids out of hand are actually the age of the parents. That they're the age group of the parents. So now it's just blanket your kids. It's just kids. You mean it's you? You're the one that's part of this issue. You get what I'm saying? When people play a lot of these games, and everybody just plays stupid, just like the we the only race of people they never do this. The white people don't do this. The Asians, the Hispanics don't. Yes, they do. But now all of a sudden, all these black people are so intelligent and so cultured and been around all these places and all these people. Now they don't know nothing. Now they don't know that other groups of people have issues too. Now all of a sudden it's like, I just never seen it. Yeah, okay. And this goes back to this subject where people always people will say we want to fix the community or fix the problems in the community, and people wonder why. Well, how come? Well, do you have a solution, or what's your solution, or is your solution working? It's like no. The issue is, if we have a problem and the problem deals with a specific group, we should address that specific group and fix the problem with that group to fix the problem. But what we do is we say we have a problem in the group, and that's everybody's problem. And so we wind up trying to fix everybody in the group that doesn't create the problem. So let's just say this specific group right here, we're gonna call it the left side, is just dysfunctional, right? So since the left side is dysfunction, and the dysfunction is affecting, the right side, the north, the south of our group, we're gonna go, well, we need to address the north and the south and the right side because no other group has this issue. It's like, but so the problem will never get fixed because you never want to address the left side. That's where it's coming from. But I don't know. And a lot of times what happens is this. A lot of times, either you're on that side or you're involved with people on that side, and though you want to address the problem, you don't want to fix it because you're an accomplice. You're participating. You get what I'm saying? And that's what happens a lot of the times. So now, we got to fix all the problems with the right side and the north side and the south side. And it's like, but we don't understand why the problem never got fixed because you brought it up. But it's the left side's issue. And you don't want to address the left side. And when the other groups want to address the left side, see, man, this is the problem. We're not unified. We don't stick together. We don't, we're not a team. It's like, oh, okay. I get it. You're just talking. This is a game for you. That's what winds up happening. And then, like using the gender war thing, on one end you have this conversation, and on the other end, man, we need to change these laws because, they're unfair to these fathers. And it's like, wait, time out. So this goes back to the quote unquote gender stuff. Yeah, okay, well, see, we don't want to do that. Or we need to change how we interact with each other because it's become transactional and we want to use each other. It's like, try to tell you that. But this comes a scenario like with the gender war and using this concept where the men need to always change. For the black community to succeed, the men need to change. So if the men change and, the men go from all the men that are dysfunctional become, productive men. And then the black community is just going to change. But all the dysfunctional women don't become productive women. So you're going to have a one side that's full of productive men and another side that's a mixed bag. And the mixed bag, the dysfunctional women are going to sabotage the whole group. But you don't want to address them. I just can't do it. I just can't. We don't understand. You know what? The men need to be better. Now the men need to be 2 times better for the dysfunctional women, and then it'll be solved. No, can't address a problem if you can't address the problem. You get what I'm saying? And the flip side of that conversation is when it's a male issue or a man issue, there isn't this passive aggressive beating around the bush with it. It's very direct. Y'all may need to do this, but here's where this concept has gone too far. It looks like the men have improved so much that all pretty much y'all got is now let's just make pseudo villains. Because y'all can't actually directly find the example of the men that are dysfunctional. So now you wind up doing this thing where, if you get with a guy who does this and he's that and he's everything negative, he's abusive and he's belligerent, he's this. Now the problem is nobody's running into these guys. The men ain't running into these guys, the women ain't really running into these guys. So everybody just makes up this pseudo villain. So now, you have an issue. Now you have this huge issue. What are we going to do? Because now the issue became people started interacting with people from this made up negative figure. You remember when Kevin Samuels was alive? My bad. when Kevin Samuels was alive, he's talking about the color purpling, of America. Everybody's got to be Mister. So now you have this issue, and then you have that thing where now you're a saint that got to prove you're not a demon. It doesn't make sense. So on the flip side, you have a lot of ladies who have a lot of bad behavior, to the point where the bad behavior without women is actually marketable now. That's why you have the housewives and the baddies and the Zeus Network and the way the female rappers act. And don't get it twisted. That used to, us as the guys, we were supposed to be the dysfunctional part of the community since like the 80s, as marketing wise. And now that's kind of died down. So now the problem doesn't look like it's a black male problem, because it's harder to find dysfunctional black men to fit the stereotype, because even they look buffoonish now. They look like, oh, okay, here we go with this again. Like it's not actually as marketable, as believable when it's marketable now, because it's like, nah, he just faking, because now people have become a satire of what's supposed to be, because people have played that game so much. But on the flip side, it's become marketed as a norm, and people have bought into it. So, if you want to blame the men, cool, blame the men. But if you want to fix the problems in the community, you gotta address where the problems start. You know what I'm saying? So, and that goes with any part of our community. That's why I did the thing about the left side, because that keeps happening over and over and over again. So, and the gender thing just makes it apparent, because we ignore the female dysfunction and blame that on the men too. So the problem never gets fixed. So tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.